Hey, I wanted to talk about the news, a little bit about what's going on, and just kind of update on a few things. I'm going to try to make a video in a few minutes regarding some various things happening in the world around us, or some updates on those things. My daddy was talking on the phone earlier about how, it's good that we have this social media right now to communicate. Without the internet right now, we have no form of communication. Well, we literally don't, because we can't use a cell phone without the internet because we have no signal here at this particular spot. But the thing is, right now people are connecting their energies and communicating, and we can make a partial positive thing out of this. Now, I will say, right now they are utilizing this thing for full swing control. I didn't know that in Texas, it's being stated they've gone and put a full law into place where they can the police have the right to check up on you and enter your home now. Because, well, what happens when you put out a bill for an executive order? What happens when you create a legislation that issues a national emergency? The old laws no longer apply. Now, that is fact. That is fact, that when you create an executive order issuing a national emergency, that the old laws do not apply anymore. And that pretty much gives the administration and the local authorities, the governments, to be authoritarian if needed, and take things as far as they want. They could take this thing as far as they want. They could literally be doing any sort of tyranny they wanted right now, like you see that's trying to happen in India. Now in Russia, RT News just told that they put on lockdown and they're shooting you with rubber bullets if you leave your house. And it could go into a full-on Big Brother enforcement mode. They've enforced the tracking of every individual, and this is in China, Russia, and the United States is on a safer at home legislation. Thankfully, Tennessee has not gone full force on that. But that you see other states everywhere, no one's leaving their homes. The roads are empty. My daddy's a truck driver. He said that the roads are empty. No one's out. And he said it looks weird to see every business closed, every restaurant closed, except for Waffle House. People are actually eating in Waffle House, and that's one of the last places. But it's kind of awkward to see. It's very, very eerie and weird to see. And if it weren't for the internet, we would have no form of communication. But the government has the authority right now, executive orders can be issued at a quicker rate. They can even shut off the borders to states, which they're thinking of doing in Kentucky. And New York has done that. Shut off the borders to the states. No one can leave states. No one can leave the country, which they've already done that with the country. No one can enter or leave right now. And you'll be quarantined if you have been. But governors and mayors now have executive power. What does that mean? Well, that means they can take this a step further, and they can make new legislation. You used to have the executive branch of government that could make these orders that other lower forms of power were not able to do. During this particular crisis, ever how long the crisis is, this national crisis is issued, or state of emergency is issued, the government is allowed to have more power. Certain branches of government. Not just like executive, judicial, and legislative branches of government. I'm talking like the mayors and governors have authoritarian power that they can utilize if they want to. And I'm just spitballing from the top of my head here what I'm conveying it, kind of putting it into putting it into simple terms. If they wanted to, they could take this thing a whole lot further. And thankfully, they haven't taken it so far as to you're not allowed to move right or left without being gunned down. You see that in Russia. You see that in Europe. You see that in China. Starting in India, as hundreds of millions of people have now lost their jobs in India, and they're just scrambling through the streets. But it's a dangerous time. A very dangerous time. But right now, there's a safer at home bill. Then it's not a quarantine situation. It's not MARTIL law situation at the moment. They signed a bill allowing 1 million soldiers, no more than 1 million, to be on the streets if needed. The National Guard, a bill of legislation was created to allow the National Guard to enter the streets, block if necessary due to protests, if there were protests, and to handle any uprising situations. But so far, communities have complied to the point where they say that that's not needed. So the National Guard members have been brought in to bring food, drinks, supplies, and goods to the general public, and help the grocery stores out, they say. That's what I've seen. In other nations, you're gunned down and hit with rubber bullets. You're hit with multiple bullets. You're hit with batons. You're hit with weapons. And in some cases, killed if you don't comply. Only one state I've seen so far has done a search and seizure bill where police can now enter your property without probable cause. Now that I don't agree with. They can enter your property without probable cause or search warrant from what I see in areas of Texas. Now if they were to take that further, that is taking executive order a little too far during a national crisis, if you ask me. But they said the bottom line, they are saying life will never be the same. People like Russell Brand, people up in the top individuals, as you want to call them, if you want to call them that, the individuals in the world governments, they're all stating that life will not be the same again. Now, they're stating that this will last 18 to 24 months, basically up to 2 years, where they restrict travel. That's worldwide. The United States right now has put a temporary restriction on things through May 1st. Limit any type of movements through May 1st. They have put over 3,000 emergency shelters open, from what I remember, in New York City. They've opened up various emergency shelters, and all of those FEMA places that we were talking about years ago have been opened in various places. I haven't heard anything about them, but from what I hear, people are stating they're making emergency hospitals and prepared ahead of time for a situation like this. Those areas, FEMA even came to Nashville to create shelters for the Nashville victims, the tornado victims in Tennessee. Now, they can't all be bad. The National Guard members, they're your family, your friends, your neighbors, your brothers, your sisters, your family members, your co-workers, all people like that. That's what the National Guard is. I've seen them in Walmart helping people out, helping elderly people, things like that. That's another whole scenario. But that's the difference between the executive orders during a national emergency or a national crisis, a worldwide crisis. They've shut down everything's been shut down worldwide. This world's at a standstill. And if they did not have some sort of economic relief put in and delivery, it would go into chaos and everything would financially collapse because nothing was moving. But from what I see, the executive orders put into play, there's basically right now mayors and governors and the president even. They all have more power right now to create executive orders and laws that they want at this moment that they feel is necessary for the safety of the community. That's the key words, the safety of the community. Right now it's at a safer at home bill. Then they have a restriction, an even further restriction that they can take it to. And they could even take it into a quarantine situation or a MARTIL law situation, but they have not at the moment. But this could be the new normal. I mean, we did know these things were coming, but I mean, we can't say this is it. There's still key events, if you believe prophetically, that have not taken place yet. The temple, the revealing of who, all of that. There are key things that haven't taken place, but what I see right now, I don't like, is the fact of this unlawful search and seizure without probable cause or warrant, being able to search a home or vehicle without any reason. Now that is illegal under the Constitution. But then again, during a national emergency, which Abraham Lincoln issued during a declaration of a national emergency crisis, the government branches are then allowed to override many of the constitutional laws and go around them. That's the thing. So let's hope our government and those in charge don't go further than what they should. Now, the World Health Organization and the world organizations that are ahead of everything right now, the trade and the not just the CDC. The CDC has certain guidelines and protocols they have to go about when making their decisions. But when it comes to the national defense and the let's see, I think it was the Secretary of National Defense. I'm not sure if it was the let me think. It was the DJO, the Department of Justice. Department of Justice was wanting the president to implement a law where no one can move, period, and they'll bring you what you need. And he said a big heck no on that. And so did Pompeo, which I thought Mike Pompeo would quit about a year ago, but then I guess he decided not to. I don't know. But they said heck no. They said a big heck no on that. So from what I see, the Department of Justice wanted them to implement laws where they could detain people without warrant, without right, without reason, without proper trial even, and can also arrest people without even having the right to what they call under the Constitution, the right to a speedy trial, the right to a trial, which other countries don't have the right to a trial. You don't even have to have a trial in other countries, but the U.S. does have a trial right. They actually wanted to do away with that from the Department of Justice, and this administration said, heck no. So that's a good thing. Even the Democrats and Republicans on both sides, which are usually arguing like a bunch of cats and dogs fighting, but they said no on that. So, but yes, to answer any questions on that, during this time, when an executive order is put in place for a national emergency, various branches of government, including governors and mayors and the president themselves, do have unlimited power to pretty much, it gives them to do whatever they want during the time of crisis. But thankfully, I have not seen this administration take advantage of their position of authority enough to alarm me to the fact of a dictatorship or totalitarian society as they're putting forward under the CTs, I'll call it. Conspiracy theory. I said it separately. So far, all of those things, the rumors that are spreading online, I'm not going to get into until I see it absolutely. But yes, I do see right now a world where the NWO situation is being pushed because of a worldwide crisis. But to answer any questions on that, yes. During a state of emergency, a national state of emergency, it immediately gives executive power and executive order over to governors, mayors, and the presidential leadership. It gives them more authority and more power than they would normally have. And thankfully, so far, I haven't seen them take advantage of their position of authority to create some sort of a dictatorship, as people tried to put out there So far, I haven't seen that. Other countries, yes, they're doing that. Here in the United States, thankfully, so far, I have not seen that. But in some states, they are doing that thing where the police officers can go in without probable cause, search warrant, all that stuff. That I don't agree with, but that's Texas. I don't know anything about it. I'll have to look it up. But what do you think about all of this? I just wanted to share some of the things that, just get some things straight on certain things. It does give them more power. Pretty much unlimited unconstitutional power. But so far I haven't seen them utilize it in a totalitarian sense. But we'll see what happens. It does make it easy for an NWO situation to take place. I do know that, but we'll see. Maybe we'll ride this thing out and things will get better and remain positive. But this is not... I mean, there's still other things that have not happened, so that's all I have to say. Just my thoughts. Give your thoughts. Peace, signing out. Love, light, peace, signing out. Positive energy. My links are below if you'd like to show support. You like my message. Love you all.